again folks, I apologise for the water on the lens at this point. We've got into the show field here and it's just so muddy. Currently this Manitou behind me is towing a vehicle with a trailer on it, and it's just an absolute madness right here. We're just literally going through the mud. Crazy scenes. Shout out to all the people organising this today. Should be a good show, and it could actually brighten up today, like in a wee while. That's what I'm hoping for. I've got my new hat in the back of the P6 there. AKR's featuring today folks, once again on the P6. And once again it's another show. Last week we had Glam's Extravaganza, this week Kirriemuir Show. And it's cool to have the Power Major once again for a change. Folks, it's the muddiest show that we've ever featured on a channel. I've been to muddy shows before, but this is the first time since I've been doing videos that it's been proper guttery and muddy, and like if there's people getting stuck and spinning, we'll get it on video for sure. This lower bit of the field here is just super muddy right now. So there we go folks, the Power Major has made it safely to the show, and the rain's actually off at the moment, so I've taken the waterproofs off, and yeah, we've basically parked the P6 and the Fordson Power Major here, and I'm waiting to try and get a coffee, because that's always the first thing I try and do when I come to these shows. And it looks like there's been a big turnout of vintage vehicles, so we'll take a walk around them in a wee while, see what's all here. And there's also a classic vehicle club here as well, so we'll be able to see some cool old classic cars. So let's get into action folks. Check it out folks, we've come around to the first stand that I'm visiting on this adventure, and it's the Agricar stand, the New Holland franchise in this area. And they've got a T7 245 and a Hustler and a set of rollers. We'll go and have a look at that, but look at this. A cool selection of interesting like boiler suits and toys. This is what I used to love when I was a kid, coming to the shows or whatever, or getting toy tractors. It was always a highlight. And it's cool to see a selection of stuff like this. Look at this, what a good price for a strimmer folks. 2 years warranty, you can't go wrong with that. £85 for this one. That is like the bargain of the show folks. Just check out this, the tractor here. T7 245. This is like the modern day equivalent of the Fordson Major that I came to the show on. And then look, we've got a set of Dalbo rollers right here. And then a green crop Bowser for taking fuel or whatever around. So yeah, that's the New Holland stand, 2023. I think you put a bell into this thing and it like churns it out and puts it into the feeding trough up in the cattle court. Yeah, so shout out Agricar at the show, it's a cool stand, and we do enjoy seeing the New Hollands, and it looks like it's clean to a high standard. Check it out folks, another detail I've just noticed at the Agricar stand, they've got the flower pots, look at that, the decoration. It just adds to the frontage of the stand here at the show. So check this out folks, we're now at the second tractor stand that we've been at the show today, and it's the AL Agri, who are the case agents in the Angus area here, and they serve everybody that wants a case basically, Case International, and they've actually got the massive 9250 case axial flow combine, so we'll take a look at that in a second. Let's see what tractors and stuff they have here. A Puma 175 with a front mower by the looks of things here. A lot of these mowers, the make of this is a kid, but it's actually quite a similar design to some of the other manufacturers that I've seen making mowers. And this is a CVX drive, which I think is the fully variable transmission. And then look at this here, folks, it's a one pass which is used for seeding the fields. El Agri here is actually the Pottinger agents as well, and that's why we see this Pottinger equipment, which actually suits the red of the case. It's quite cool to see. And this is a Puma 200. It's also a CVX drive, folks, and this is actually the front hopper. Often, well, this is where like the seed would be stored for planting at the back, and these are massive fans here. So the seed drops down and the fan blows the seed along a pipe all the way to the back of the tractor, and then the seed drops down. And then sometimes with systems like this, the front hopper would be split into two pieces with fertiliser at one side and the seed at the other. And as you go along, the fertiliser and seed gets blown back the two pipes to the rear of the tractor. And that's why there is pipes like this on these machines. When this is operational, the pipe will be right along the side of the tractor here. Check this out, folks, this is a Pottinger plough. Companies like Pottinger, they often make a big variation of farm equipment. And then if you take on the franchise or the agent for that, you get all the different types of equipment that you have to sell. This is a Servo 45M Plus Nova. That's the model of this big unit right here. And it's a 5 furrow plough. And then check this out, folks, the Case combine right here. Even though Case in New Holland is the same company, the CNH, the combines and things like that are actually totally different. There is some of the components that's the same, but the majority of the design and the functionality is just totally different. But look at this, this is actually the front suspension tracks on this unit here. Each of these rollers moves independently as the combine goes over rises and lumps in the ground. Check it out, folks, this is interesting. The drive for the header is actually different to the New Holland because it's driven with a shaft. Often it's belts which drive down here, because this is what turns the header. And on this combine it's actually a 45-foot header which goes on the front, so you can imagine how wide that actually is when you're driving it. Check it out, folks, at the back of the combine in here, look at that, that's the chopper. That's what actually chops up all the straw and turns it into pretty much dust. Or else you can have the option of the straw coming out and making a bout, so then you can bale it. Check it out, folks, at the show there's this Fendt Vario here, and it's got this forestry trailer on it, and we do love seeing a bit of forestry action when we're out on our adventures. Anyway, let's head for a walk. We're heading around just looking at some random things today as we go around the show, so let's get into the action, folks. Here we go, folks, Grampian tractors, check it out, Polaris. It's quite a cool, I quite like this camo finish that's on it. I've never seen the Polaris with that finish on it before. Quite a cool quad right there, folks, with the black wheels. And look at this here, a little soulless tractor. It's a wee log splitter right there on that thing. Check this out, folks, big Marston trailer here at the show, and it's cool. The build quality of these Marston trailers is one of the best. And man, they are so cool to see, and these have been around since back in the day. I used to have a Britain's toy, one of these trailers on the back of my old TM New Holland. Yeah, this would have been a massive trailer when I was young, because you used to get Marston trailers that were like half this length, and it was a popular trailer back in the day. It still is, but they're kind of the top end of the trailer game. And then we've got Moore's Spearhead Destroyer. Check it out, folks, it destroys the grass with those big blades. And this thing, it's a triple bladed mower right here, folks. And then this is a stain grape. You put this on your front linkage, and then when you're going along doing your like seeding or whatever you're doing, more like if you had your rollers on the back and you were going along the field and there was a big stone, you would just pick it up with that on your front linkage and then carry on to the end of the field. And then at this other side we've got a big flatbed Marston trailer, and this is actually Norman F. Ogg's stand here. Here's the ice cream van coming, folks. The ice cream van's getting stuck live on the video, live action, folks. Mr. Whippy is whipping up some big divots of mud right now. Check this out, folks, there's donkeys in the back of this little horse box here. Check them out, folks, happy donkeys here at the show. They're sheltering, and we can't blame them on a wet day like this. The rain is off just now though, but it is threatening to rain again soon, judging from the colour of the sky around here. Check it out, folks, a stone crusher. So cool. We're crushing up the bricks and stuff like that. We're getting a demonstration right here, which is super cool. Powered by a Lister Junior engine here, which is flat belt driven. Yes, there's both of them going. We're getting the full demonstration here, folks. Oh, this is a bruiser for the grain, because animals can't digest a full grain, so they bruise it like this to turn it into the bruised grain. And a lot of farms would have had one of these, and that's originally why these stationary engines were related to the agricultural scene. Every farm had something like this. Some of them were even powering water pumps and stuff for the farms to get the fresh water up to the farmhouse. This one's got the big drill on it. And then this one here is also a bruiser with a Lister F-Type, 1947. And yeah, this is a corn mill, a bent hill corn mill. They were manufacturing things dating back to 1866. That's a nice display of engines right there, folks. We started off years ago when we were little. We used to take some stationary engines to the show and stuff, so I do enjoy seeing them in their former like working glory with the wee machines and bits of apparatus powered by them. Check this out, folks. We're now in the old vintage tractor section here. We're just kind of here to walk about randomly. I'm just going to record each tractor and machine as we go past it. Look at this, it's an old John Deere 540 baler. And you can just imagine these things when they were brand new. This would have been like the latest technology here. You can see the bale chamber within there. Obviously, as these belts go round, the straw builds up and up and up. And then once it's fully built, the bale, you have to stop and let the bale out the back. And then it's tidy, this unit, because it's the full John Deere setup with the tractor as well. Check it out, a 3350 folks. This style of John Deere, when you're driving them, the door hinge and the exhaust and air filter's right in your line of vision. And this is actually a big 6-cylinder unit right here. This would have been a big tractor on a farm. And this is the style of John Deere. When I was little, this is what was like the main tractors on the farm back in the day. Look at this folks, there's a wee Perkins P3 Fergie here with a little grubber on the back. And then look at this fine example of a Fordson Major here. 1955 Fordson Major. Over the years they were always changed slightly and developed, and they were always just tweaked as the technologies moved on. The Majors were obviously enhanced and changed, just like the modern, like New Hollands or whatever. There's always wee things changing. And then look at this, the Field Marshal folks, one of the finest tractors at the show today. And look at this, used here for stopping the water going down the exhaust. There is a little bit of wind blowing through here right now folks, and I do apologise for that in the audio. Here's another Fordson Major here, restored to a fine level. It's amazing to see them at the shows, restored to their former glory. And you can just imagine when a thing like that was sitting in the showroom, people must have been so proud to go and pick up their new tractor, the latest technology of that time. Yeah, look at this folks, I'm sure at Glams I saw one of these Alice Chammers which was in an unrestored condition, so it's cool in this video to see one which has been restored and painted and it's in super good condition. And look at this folks, the P6 Fordson Major which AKR's driving today. If you want to see more of this, you can look back at the Glams Extravaganza, I can't even speak folks, the Glams Extravaganza Adventure. This is the tractor I was driving. And then this is what I'm driving today folks, it's the 1959 Power Major. And it's in working condition, still gets used for splitting firewood and stuff like that. That's how the paint isn't obviously the shiniest or whatever, but you can just jump on at any conditions and get the job done. And you can see the mud stuck to the wheels from the road down when we were coming through this field. There was no way of avoiding it. Look at this folks, it's got the one big headlight at the front. That must have been like an extra you got back at that time, maybe like an electrics kit. And look at that, the SR is actually an original Angus number plate. Check this out folks, this is one of the coolest tractors at the show I would say. Massey Ferguson 188 multi-power, and look, it's got the big 4-wheel drive front axle. That is some size of a casting on there. It's bigger than even like modern front axles on big tractors. Everything was so over-engineered back in those days. But I do love seeing the rarer tractors like this one, and when it's got a 4-wheel drive axle on it, it makes it look so chunky and powerful. And then look, it's got a 4 for a plough, which back at this time must have been a monstrous setup. That would have been a big plough for its era. And then look what we've got here, a 168. This is a Perkins 4-cylinder tractor, which is a multi-power as well. And it's a tidy unit. You can see it's supplied from Reiki Engineering, and that was the original suppliers back in the day for this type of tractor. And then look at this thing. This Ford 5000 here is one of the cleanest tractors at the show today, and it's probably one of my favourite tractors at the show today, I would say. It still at this time had the name of the Super Major on it, because this was obviously years after the Fordson Super Major that had evolved and changed, but sometimes names like that would stick. And look at this, it's a 5000. So special to see folks, and it's in such great condition, like I say. And look, that must have been where it was originally sold from when it was new. Hungerford. And then check this out folks, the Case International 956XL. And the XL was the one that had the fancy like quiet cab for its era, and it's got like the tinted glass. And this one here is in really good condition. It's the big 6-cylinder International, and the whistle off the exhaust on these things is so special. And another cool thing, like, it's a great tractor because of the manual gears. When you're driving these tractors from this era, you're genuinely driving them. It's no like the modern ones when you're like just clicking a button. So you look at this front axle compared to that Fergie we just looked at, you can see how this one's smaller, and that's how I was saying, like, the Fergie's so oversized for its era. Yeah, this is a tidy tractor. I believe we actually saw this on the Angus Show adventure, but it's smart to see it here. The sun's actually starting to come out, which is so cool. And then look at this here, we've got a trailer on the back of this Fergie, a 390. This is also powered from a Perkins power unit here. And it looks like it's a 4-cylinder, I believe. Open centre hydraulic system right here. And the interior and stuff like that is just absolutely immaculate, folks. And I can see it says Great Britain it was manufactured in. And that just shows the sort of industry these tractors were created in this country here. I believe like some of the New Hollands and things are still actually built in this country to this day. Look at this as well. This is a really tidy Massey Ferguson 240. The paintwork and stuff on it, it's just immaculate. When I see these at the show, I just imagine how it must have been back in the day. The people going to collect their new tractor. This is the condition they must have been. And then at this side we've got another British Leyland tractor here, folks, which came from the British Motor Company, I believe. Originally when these were built they were actually orange, and then the later ones were this blue colour right here. But I do like these wee tractors. This one's a 154, and on the back it's got this pallet fork system, which would be handy on the rear linkage. The cool thing with these wee tractors, you can pretty much do everything that the big tractors do. So there's a lot of different systems and things compacted into the small unit. Look at the way the rotary fuel pump's mounted on there. The fuel pump's mounted at 90 degrees to the engine, which is quite unusual. Look at the starter as well under there. You would think it would get tickled in about the crops. So cool though, folks. I just love the variation of these tractors. Check this out, folks. Not only is there horses at this show, there's also the shoeing of the horses here with the blacksmiths, which is pretty cool to see, the old traditional ways of making the horseshoes here with the furnace and the anvil. I think that's what you call the farriers here. You can see they're getting the metal red hot before they hammer it into shape. Check out, folks, here we are down at the livestock section here in the show. This is where all the sheep and the different animals are. There's cows and all sorts of things around here. Check out these beasts. Hello. Look at him, he's quite a happy little sheep, I think. They've all had their prizes and their rosettes put on the end of their pens for each sheep. Some of them's got their fur dyed pure yellow as well. Oh, somebody's just gotten a druikin at the young farmers. They've got a bucket of water with a target over at the young farmers, so if you sit on the seat and somebody hits the target, you get soaked. Look at this. They're quite inquisitive. Look at the size of their horns. Hey laddie. Yeah, they're a bit wary. See, that's the thing with these animals. They're no used to seeing this quantity of folk like walking around looking at them, and they're a bit suspicious, they're a bit wary. Look at this, folks, look how furry this sheep here is, it's unreal. It almost looks like that St Bernard dog that's kicking about. Wow. It's crazy seeing all the different breeds of sheep in this one place here. Looks like it's called a Valius Black Nose. Yeah, the hair on it just looks amazing. That curly, unusual coat. Hello there. Look at that, folks. We love sheep on this channel, and look at this one. Look at this, folks. These cows here are getting judged. And there's a big bull there. Looks like that big bull's the winner. There's even a Highland cow over here in the ring. Check it out, folks, these cows are getting their photo taken. I'm not sure if it's for like the paper or whatever, maybe for the courier. Oh look, there's a wee cafe over there getting walked around. Sometimes the animals can be restless because they're not used to seeing this many folk. It's just a strange environment for them. Sometimes they can get a wee bit flustered. Check it out, folks, this must be the junior class here, bringing their little cows around. And that's a cool, my favourite one is the little Highland cow there. That's the next generation, folks. Maybe in a few years' time they'll be at this end of the field with their massive big bulls. This one's getting its photo taken. This must be the #1 cow here. Here we are, folks. Look at these cows right here. Quite happy just chilling there. That's a bull. Look at that with the nose ring in its nose. Hello there, cow. Have you got your ring in your nose, have you? Some fine Scottish beasts there, folks. Good bit. I see it near there. It was answering me. Get some bra burgers out of them one day, maybe. See if they're bulls, the way they'll not be making burgers out of them. All that. These will be creating the other cows.
Probably aye.
Check this out, folks. It's a Teagle bedder on the back of this Claas tractor. It's a 420 Aeron. And then look at this. It's for a hay turner or whatever. And then a Claas 630 Aeron here with a Lambkin 1 pass on it. Quite a tidy yoke, folks. Similar to like that Pottinger 1 pass that we saw earlier on the video, but this is the Lambkin version. They're all quite similar. This one's obviously got the hopper for the seed and maybe potentially the ferret. And that's on the back. So this one you don't need the front hopper like we saw with the other one. But you can see the two different pipes coming down here. One of these pipes will be for the ferret and the other one for the seed. Most likely the seed's coming down this in here. Getting put in between the discs there. And then the back wheel there rolls it over, rolls it into the ground. But aye, it's smart to see the tractors. I was just basically walking past and then I realised I hadn't looked at these. The Claas tractors here. And I believe it's Sellers. Right folks, I'm now on the back of the Fordson Power Major again. And we're now away to do the Ring Parade Kirriemuir Show 2023. Shout out to everybody that came along to the show today. And also shout out to all the fans that came in and introduced themselves. It's cool to see the other side, like when I produce these videos and put them on, I never know who's viewing them, so it's cool to meet some of the viewers. And yeah, it's good fun. Anyway, let's get into this action, folks, right here. We're away to do the Ring Parade, so it's super cool. I'm just going to follow AKR here on the P6. Following in the tyre tracks of the tractor in front here just to minimise the wear and tear to the surface because it's so muddy today. The field is actually dried though with this windy, it's kind of a light breeze and the sunshine, so the field is kind of drying, like it is still super muddy. I can see the wheels sinking into the soil. Folks, we're going round the ring. Shout out to the ring MC on today's parade here. He's MCing today's ring. Check it out, folks, we're now in the ring still. We've all kind of stopped, and I think the prize winners are making their way to the centre of the ring over there. Because I think they go and collect their prizes. They've got a table there with some trophies on it and stuff like that. And stuff like that, and even if you had some livestock and you were a winner, shout out on this video. It's people like all the people here that make the show, all the animals and all the tractors. Here we go, folks, we're following this muddy track. That's the beer tent there, and I think it was super busy when the rain came on. Everybody was over at it. We're kind of going right around the top end of the show field here right now. We're heading back to the tractor compound. That was pretty cool going around the ring though. We got really lucky with the weather. But the mud in the fields, that proper gummy kind of mud, it just seems to be stuck in the tyres. Check it out, folks, a JCB telehandler 53260. And then we've got a John Deere 6145R, and I think they were using that to tow out some of the cars and that was getting stuck, and some of the horse boxes. A fine sound off the field marshal, folks. One of the best sounding tractors at the show. One of the coolest tractors at the show, I would say, today. Look at this, folks. At this year's Kirriemuir Show there's actually cars, which is pretty cool. Look at this big fancy American Chevrolet truck right here. It's got a big V8 non-aspirated engine right there. We've got a Subaru here peeling out. It's got the full kit on it. Yeah, check this thing out, a Silverado. Pretty cool, pretty rare in this country as well. Shout out all the American viewers. Here we go, we've got a Hemi V8 here. .7 litre V8 Hemi. That's another car which is pretty rare in this country, but it's cool to see at the show. And then over at this side we've got the Angus Classic Enthusiasts Club, also known as the Ace Club. And let's check out what cars they have. Check out, folks, replica Ford GT right here. A Ford Probe, I've not seen one of them for a long time. Look at this, a Peugeot 309. It's a GTI. See, this is when Peugeots used to make good cars back at this time, but nowadays they're just terrible, like poorly designed. I actually had a Peugeot recently and it wasn't what Peugeots used to be. Back at this time, Peugeots were absolutely bulletproof and so well styled. They were a cool car. And it's cool to see a 309 GTI. They're getting rarer. there's the Subaru going away up the road, folks. And check this out, the wee blue Scottish Mini. And here's another Peugeot 309 at this side. It's a Zest. And I think my old man actually used to have one of those back in the day. His was a Zest as well, with the same colour scheme. And like I say, they were really good cars. I would still have one to this day. I love the old Peugeot, the 205s and the 309s from that era. Look at this, a Ford Escort. I actually used to have a Ford Escort, but mine was actually a couple of years newer than this one. The Volkswagen Beetle, 1972 Volkswagen Beetle. And then look at this Porsche right here, folks, a Porsche 944S. That's pretty cool. It's smart at the Kirrie Show to have the cars as well as the tractors. I think years ago some people were keen to bring cars to the show, but it wasn't really allowed by the old committee. But I think nowadays they've obviously changed. It's so cool to have that because it can add like a whole new group of interest to the show. I don't know what I'm even trying to say here, folks, but it's a whole different sort of people who are like interested in cars, so you might get different crowds coming to these shows. Yeah, so that was cool to have a look around those cars, folks. It's amazing just the various cars with all the Americanines and the Britishines, the older ones and the newer ones. The wind is kind of picking up now, and I do apologise for that in today's audio if there's any wind blowing through. Like, we're just away to have another little walk around the show here and see what's going on. Check it out, folks, we're heading into the craft tent here at the show. And this is where you get all the stuff which is like arts and crafts, built by local artists and local people here. Everything from Lizzie's biscuit box to some silver. And just look at the crowd in here. Often tents like this get super busy if the rain comes on. Look at this, some paintings. Art by Marianne. Original watercolour paintings, folks. Quite cool to see all the different stuff here. It's amazing. Different brooches, different signs. Dog treats and stuff like that. Look at this, here's some interesting paintings. These are cool. Look at that, folks. That's some of the places. That's some of the places we've been on adventures on this channel. Finn Kelsey, shout out to you, sir. Your paintings are really good. Look at this one. Winter in the Woods at Cortahay. And look, Loch Wirral. Check it out, folks, electric bikes here at Kirrie Show this year. Is that the company you lads sell? So there you go, folks. If you're in Scotland and you're needing an electric bike, or even if you're anywhere in the world, probably, these boys could source you an electric bike, and they're called Electric Bike Scotland, and they cater to a few different makes and models of the bike. So yeah, give them a shout, folks. Are you on Instagram? Or Instagram Electric Bike Scotland, folks. Check them out. So now, folks, the show's kind of drawn to an end. A lot of folks packed up and a lot of the tractors are away. Shout out to Aspen's Artisan Coffee Bar. That was the #1 coffee bar at the show today, and I enjoyed a good few lattes from them, and it was just perfect. A fantastic coffee. So yeah, shout out Aspen's Coffee Bar for sure. Now I'm just kind of having like a final walkabout and just having a look at some of the things that I might have missed already. But it won't be long before we're back on the Power Major, heading out in the field. So at the show today, folks, we've got auto sales at Kirriemuir, Isuzu and Subaru dealers from Kirriemuir, and it's a cool display. They've got a couple of Isuzu trucks and a couple of the Subarus. Look at that, folks, loads of boot space in there for anything. When you go to get your shopping, throw your golf clubs in there. Pretty tidy cars. I think the build quality of the Subarus is pretty good. Anyway, let's head on, folks. Right, folks, the show field's now starting to empty, and I'm just heading back to the power to get my waterproof coat on, and we're away to head out of the show. But the power's done super well today, as you can see here. Look, folks, we won the runner-up, the Jock Duncan Memorial Shield runner-up, BKR 2023, folks, as seen on today's episode. And shout out to the show and the show committee and all the organisers of the Kirriemuir Show. It was a top day out here, and yeah, if anybody's wanting to come, it's held annually here in this field at Kirriemuir, so be sure to come next year. Look at this, folks, we're away to see the diesel field marshal firing up for the video. It's a special occasion here. This is interesting, folks, because you have to put there's a burning piece of paper that you put in the front, the hole at the front, and that puts the heat into the cylinder of the engine. And that's what this is here, lighting the piece of paper to get the heat into the cylinder. So then when you turn it over, it helps it start. And there is a secondary way of starting these with an empty shotgun cartridge in here, and then you chap the end of it and it fires the cartridge and then blows the piston down, and then the engine starts up. Here we go, folks. I absolutely love this tractor. The sound of it is just so perfect. That just shows you how spoiled people are nowadays. You just turn the ignition key and away you go. Back at this time, you had to do all that before you could fire up the engine. Check it out, folks, AKR's getting a shot at the field marshal. Look at the smoke circles coming out. That's the sign of a good engine on one of them, when it blows the smoke circles up. Just got a shot of the field marshal back there, and thanks so much for giving me a shot, Jordy. That was cool, good fun. It's one of my favourite favourite tractors in the show, folks. And then you can see the side of the pulley's actually got a thread on it. That little roller there, that little roller goes into the thread, so as you're turning it over, the roller slowly moves to the edge of the pulley, and then once the roller drops off the end of the pulley, the engine gets full compression and then fires up. Quite an interesting system for an automatic decompressor. Right folks, we're now heading out of the show field here at Kirriemuir Show 2023. What a super day it's been. And yeah, I've had a lot of fun. It's been cool to hear the Power Major out once again. I'm now following on behind AKR.
नजरिए